Hi, I'm the Tale Weaver Omar, and DM here at A Tale of D20's Network.
Hi, I'm Zektown, and I am the DM here at A Tale of D20's Network.
Zek, you know I am the Dungeon Master for the drama-fueled, anime-inspired fantasy epic Descent into the Void, right?
Yes, but Omar, you know I am the Dungeon Master for the comedy-riddled, trope-smashing fantasy epic The Natural Ones.
I guess both of them are perfect shows for a tabletop podcasting network.
It's a good thing that people can find us at ataleofd20s.com then.
Yeah, you can also find us on Twitter at A Tale of D20s. That's at ATALEOFD20S, A Tale of D20s.
And you can find each show on Twitter at The Nat Ones Cast, at THENAT1SCAST, The Nat Ones Cast, or Descent Void at DESCENTVOID, Descent Void on Twitter.
So, if you want thrilling drama,
or a side-splitting comedy, A Tale of D20s has you covered.
Greetings, Dungeon Delvers, and welcome to yet another exciting chapter of Descent into the Void, A Tale of D20s, where six friends journey together to tell a story of mythic proportion.
Gather round, gather round. Let me tell you a tale of life and death, of joy and sorrow, a tale of D20s.
Last time, Liberators, you traversed through the arcane capital Thelos, perusing through his districts for your own personal agendas. Horatio had joined Duran and set off to one of the districts to purchase an item in secret for King, while the rest of the party went to the Dust District and spoke with the Corpus Arcana after having some snacks while they waited. The party met back together in the Dust District and all ventured into the Curious Forest. Here you shop for items, reagents, and discover a strange graveyard-like area adorned with stones etched in the symbols of the Prolepsi, the old gods. Those of the group who worshipped the Prolepsi found your respective gods cleaning up the altars. Cal discovered that at the altar for Kalemvor, a dwarven paladin stood chanting the familiar number that was on his pistols in prayer. The dwarven paladin, shocked at the realization of who Cal was, presented him with a map that led to his order of Kalemvor, and was told to meet there in secret to discuss the revelations. Monaco and Horatio decided to head to the Corpus Arcana for information, and Duran and King stayed to continue blessing the consecrated grounds of the Prolepsi. It was here that they met with Sariel, who revealed herself to be an Eladrin leader charged with protecting the Druids of the Dust District, who were secretly fey creatures and elves. To help King with his deterioration, she suggested that Duran and him perform a ceremony linking their life forces together called the Steel-Eye Bond. After its completion, Duran and King shared a new connection as they embraced one another in the woods. Monaco and Horatio met with Judean Sunfell, where Monaco revealed her goal of defeating the Burning Hand, forcing Horatio to rejoin the Corporus in return. Judean revealed that the Burning Hand was a lord of hell, held within the plane of Phlegathos, and it was dangerous but possible mission to subjugate him.
So, Cal, walking inside of this dark, strange room, looking back and seeing the statues of the many people up against the walls into the back, you are surrounded by a room full of onlookers looking at you in awe and curiosity, while Ulathar, the dwarf who you have met in the sanctuary before, stands to you, looking at you. He walks up and says, "Alright, Kale, you probably have a lot of questions and you need some answers, so I think it's about time we tell you about your lineage and where you came from."
Yeah, let's start at the beginning.
Right then, well, I should properly introduce myself. My name is Ulathar Bryhammer. I'm one of the head paladins here in this order of Kalemvor, or well, you can call us the Heirs of Equipoise. We try to bring balance and keep everything fair and just throughout the realms. Charged with this from the god Kalimvor, we seek to make sure the scales are not tipped in any favor and everything is kept balanced throughout the plains.
That's what I've been doing this whole time. I've been acting on behalf of Kalimvor. I get small nudges in certain directions, and I try to bring back balance to all things.
I bet you will. Well, here, have a seat. I'm sure we have a lot to talk about, and I'm sure you have a lot to tell us about Galilius. What happened? And he goes and walks on over to one of the tables. The room parts a little bit as the people kind of slide their chairs back. The creaking of the wooden seats are heard across the very slippery and firm stone floor. You hear, and then so there's one table directly at the center of this circle that has now formed as Ulathar walks on over and takes a seat, and he kind of hits the other chair, beckoning you to sit down.
I go over and cautiously sit down.
Alright, I guess I should start. Like I said before, we are the heirs of Equipoise. We are charged with keeping balance and, well, it's a long story. Where to start? You are what is known as the Mortal Key. For generations, the key is reborn into a new form over and over again. The doorway, the key to enter the doorway of Eustacia. The numbers that we chant, or the codes to unlock it, combine that with the mortal key, you'll have the entrance to get inside of the doorway of Eustacia, to the realm of the gods and beyond. Well,
what?
Have you heard about the story of the Prolepsy and the Aegis?
Yeah, for the most part I understand it.
Well, long ago, 3 mortals found the doorway to Eustacia. They were powerful wizards, and in doing so entered forth through the gateway, becoming gods and goddesses themselves. They were known as the Trias. They left the door open for others like them to enter forth, and those new gods called themselves the Aegis and blamed the old gods named the Prolepsy for all the plight and the destruction that the Darkness was doing here in Dusthaven, which at that time was known as Igbril. A war between the Aegis and the Prolepsy went, and balance was out of control. Kalimvor, a Prolepsy, decided not to take sides, and in doing so, he split himself into 2. We worship the Prolepsy known as Kalimvor, the god of death and balance, but he also had the power to rip away part of his essence, and in doing so, and he looks on over towards everyone, and everyone leans in closer. They all seem to know this story, but they're on the edge of their seat nonetheless, as they're all staring at you, Cal. And in doing so, he became the Aegis known as Hades, god of the underworld. In that he stayed on both sides, quelling the fight between the Aegis and the Prolepsy. He closed the doorway to Eustacia to make sure none other can walk in and create an unbalance, using the 2 sides of his personality, his entity. That key became known as the Mortal Key, and he protected it and hid it inside the vessel of a mortal. And when that vessel died, it went to the next one, and to the next, for 1,000 generations, until we discovered that it came into you. We don't know where your family, where you're from. You were left in the doorstep here.
That's not what Galilea always told me.
I'm sure he kept many secrets from you. You're very sought after. We're not the only ones who know about the truth of where you came from. There's a group called the Bloodlen. Their leader, their current leader anyway, she knew about you, and she sent an assassin to find you, steal you away, so she can pull away the key, open the door for herself and become a goddess. So Galilea ran to the far reaches of Shiverin where you can't be found, and protected you all this time. We hoped that he was fine. He got away, but here you are, back in the lion's den. And where is he?
Well, I guess the leader of the Bloodline. What's her name?
He
Can you not say it?
looks around and gets really close to you. His armor chinging up and down as he moves, as he's fully plated. Her name is Drusilla Lenar. No one's seen her face. She hides in the shadows, ruling the Blood Inn with an iron fist. They're an assassination group, full of rogues and shady figures.
One of her assassins killed Galilia. Now I'm sure of it.
After saying this, everyone inside of the room just goes, and then immediately the silence is broken through the mumbles and grumbles and side banter of all the members of the Heirs of Equipoise.
I was just a boy. We were living in Fia. I got home one day, I found a note telling me to bring these pistols. And I take the two pistols that were Galilia's, and I put them on the table. They wanted them in exchange for Galilia's life. I went to where they were keeping him, was trying to get an advantage and sneak up, and that's when this hooded dwarf, dark dwarf, or whatever it was, we wrestled, grappled with each other, the revolver in my hands. It went off several times, and after I had tackled dwarf to the ground, I looked up and saw Galilia bleeding. He'd been hit with a stray bullet. The dwarf ran away, and I couldn't chase him. I had to be with Galilia.
He looks over towards you, and as you look up after explaining this, you see everyone is crying with tears in their eyes. Not a dry eye in the house as you tell the story of the death of Galilia. And then Ulathar looks on over to you and places his hand on your shoulders. I'm so sorry. That dwarf. It sounds like Drusilla's right-hand man, Crixus. King Lahaderach. Do you speak Dwarvish?
I don't believe so.
So he starts going on, and seems like he's saying swears in Dwarvish, and he's like, Sorry, pardon my language. I can't believe it. Galilia, I didn't think anyone can fell him. He was so powerful. But if he was shot with his own pistol, these pistols...
It was after he passed, right there on the docks, that Kalemvor, the whisper of the wind, which I took to be Kalemvor, took me away from that place. And I was running. I've been running. I go where I think Kalemvor is sending me. And I think he sent me to this group of family now that I'm with. What you're telling me, think it's connected to how I got involved with them to begin with. I didn't think I was connected with the Aegis and everything that got all muddled between the gods.
As Ulathar opens up his mouth, the door slams open and everyone kind of just jumps up and looks on over. Stepping throughout the doorway, you see is a fully plated another, you could tell is a dwarf from his size and his stature, but his armor is shinier. Where everyone's wearing mail, he has full-on plate. There's a large sword across his back that's larger than his entire body and is thick, almost axe-like. As he steps forward and he... as he steps, you can hear the clanking of his armor down, and on his left arm you see he's carrying a large seal with a symbol of Kelmbor on top of it. That's sort of glowing and shining. The scales almost seem to be moving back and forth onto the shield. Even though you're not trained in the Arcana, you can just sense the magical energy, or you can sense the holy energy emanating from this being. Lifting up his helmet, he slides it on back, you hear the clanging sound of it hitting the back of his armor, and you see the face of what seems to be an older though strong and buff-looking dwarf with a bald head, thick gray eyebrows, and a matching thick gray beard with a mustache and like chin beard that goes down all the way to his chest. Not braided, just kind of, but very straight, and it's cut very fine and not scraggly. It's very well kept. Well, what's all the commotion here? Why are my men and women huddled around? And then he stops and locks eyes with you at that moment. Who is this? Sir, I'm so sorry. And Ulathar runs over towards him. Master Regan, it's the mortal key. It's returned to us. The mortal key. And he immediately pushes past Ulathar and stomps up towards you, the sound of his armor just clanging through each step. Everyone parts even further, where there's a significant gap within this foyer area, and more of like a amphitheater type scene where you two are on the stage. Regan walks up to you and stares at you as you're sitting down. You are eye level now as you sit, and he just stares at you. Even though he's short, his presence alone just makes him seem massive. By Kalimvor's beer, I'll recognize those eyes anywhere. Looks like the scales seem to bend in our favor. And he doesn't say anything towards you, but instead starts to inspect you, walking around you, and it gets pretty awkward.
My name is Cal.
I didn't ask you your name, boy. And then everyone else kind of just quiets, and you can hear the sternness coming from him. He doesn't seem like a very friendly person, but instead he just you, looking you up and down. Where's that bastard Galilea? Where is he? Come out! Is this one of your games?
You do better than speak ill of the dead.
The dead? Speak, boy. Speak your truth.
As I was just saying, and as Ulathar here has confirmed, I believe Crixus killed him many years ago.
As you say his name, he spits onto the ground. What?
I've been by myself for more than a decade.
And you were just out in the open for anyone to steal you. That Gileas goes and dies while protecting the mortal key. Ugh. Everyone, leave! Now! You too, Ulathar. I wish to speak to the mortal key alone. Right away! And Ulathar and the rest of them, they get up, and you hear a massive kind of uplifting of everyone as they start to walk through other doors that you now notice there are other entrances and exits throughout this. They slide open a painting, and you see there's a doorway, and they walk through there, or they hit a button that's located on the back wall, and you see like a secret door open up, and slowly but surely they all seem to file out into another area as you roll me a perception check.
That is a natural 1, giving me a 6.
Okay, you notice nothing.
I noticed nothing.
As they all leave and go into these hallways until after a few moments, it is just left alone with Regan, this short but very boisterous dwarf and clad in armor, and as well as the rest of the paintings and statues that are within this hall. So, the mortal key represents itself to me, taunting me. After all these years, well, what brings you here? Back to the one place that you shouldn't chant had returned.
I met Ulathar at Kalimvor's stone.
Geklakagahingakak, he says, cursing that Ulathar, inviting just anyone down to our base.
He gave me a card and said if I can activate and use the power of Kalimvor, I could find my way here. I obviously did that.
Well, he's not totally useless then. So, here you are, the mortal key, taken years ago by Galilius for protection, returning back in here to the heir of Equipoise, also where the Bloodlen reside. You're in enemy territory, boy.
What do you mean about the Bloodlen?
The Bloodlen, ruled by Drusilla Lenacht, she says, spinning onto the ground. He says, spinning onto the ground. Are one of our worst enemies. For generations, the Bloodlands sought out for the mortal key. They wished to ascend to godhood, to become something more. Not Aegis, not Prolepsy, but to start a new clan of gods, only for them to control. Kalimvor, or Hades, in his Aegis form, created the mortal key after locking the doors of Eustacia, never to be opened again by mortal hands. Unfortunately, something so powerful needs to be placed into a vessel to be reborn over and over again for the end of time. You, Cal, you said, are its current vessel. Your purpose is to house the mortal key. You are charged to open the door, and we are charged to keep you from doing so. You and all others who seek the power of the gods.
I don't seek anything.
You say that now, but You say you are a follower of Kalimvor?
Yes.
At least Galilia has taught you right. He looks down. You still have the pistols on the table?
Yes, but as he was circling me, I had like my hands like on my lap talking, but as he was inspecting me, I like put my hands back onto the revolvers as if I'm gripping them.
Okay.
But they are on the table, yeah.
Oh, okay. So he looks on over at the pistols, his eyes widen open. For a second, you roll me an insight check.
That is a dirty 20.
Dirty 20. For a second, you see almost a look of envy, jealousy, as he stares over at the pistol, but it quickly dissipates as he goes back to his normal stern look, staring at you. I see you carry the guns of Galilia, that artificer. Well, I'll tell you one. Say what you will about him, he is quite adept with the power of holy relics. And that relic there is one of the most powerful I've ever seen. And he says that, and you notice that he goes back, grabbing his sword a little bit and kind of holding onto it before putting it back, his hand back down to his side. What do you know of its power? Do you even know how to wield it?
I think I do. It is what I use to channel my divinity. Kalimvor guides the bullets that come out of this set of revolvers. And I've recently uncovered that they can be used like a key. Maybe after what Uluthar informed me of, they will also be the key to Eustacia.
Oh boy, you know so little. Yes, these are the conduit for the key. You are the mortal key. You don't just unlock the doors to Eustacia. You unlock. And he doesn't say anything else after that. But then continues, you can, according to legend, the mortal key can unlock the potential in items, people, doorways, magics. The power is limitless. And when he says limitless, he stares very intently at you before shaking his head and releasing the stare. Well, since you are here now, I suppose you shall now follow the fold, do what you are charged to do as a warrior of Kalimvor. If you carry his spirit and his power within, then you will join our ranks. There we will keep you protected, safe, away from the hands that wish to use you for dark purposes, that wish to use you to create chaos that Kalimvor has fought to keep at bay. Suppose you'll be needing a place to stay.
Now listen, Kalimvor guides me in every action that I take, and I will not be some tool to be hidden away. I've done a lot of good in these lands, and I am just beginning to act in the ways and on behalf of Kalimvor himself.
Too right you are a tool, he says, stepping up towards you. You are a tool to the other planes. You are a tool to the doorways. And we will not have you just gallivanting around the multiplane as waiting to be used by darker forces.
I will not be anyone's tool.
You will heed the call of Kalimvor and join the heirs of Equipoise. Oh, so gods help me. And he steps up right in front of your face. Well, you're standing, so he's much shorter than you, but he gets really close to you.
You act like I must be some rank-and-file knight, falling in line. I have been behaving, acting, every decision, every set of choices has been guided by Kalimvor. And I've been doing that since I could run. If you want my help, I may be able to give it. And I may be able to spread the balance of Kalimvor throughout the places I go. But I would die, and I would rather let myself as the mortal key pass to someone else than let it get into the wrong hands.
We will not lose the mortal key. Not after all the years we spent searching for it, and then lost again by the hands of Galilia.
Searching for it? I've come here several times. I've been in fear from half of my childhood. How hard did you search?
Farther than you've known. We went into the frozen tundra known as Shiverin and searched for you, following the trail of Galilia. Did he reach out to me? No. And as an heir of Equipoise, it was his right. No, it was his charge to alert me of any situation involving the mortal key. And what, he just lived as some pauper off into fear, hidden away when we could have used... And he stops, takes a deep breath, and steps back from you. I am weary from my travels. Will not force the mortal key to stay, but you will not be walking around Thelos unprotected and unchecked. He reaches into his pocket and holds out a strange-looking stone. The stone itself, carved into it, is a scale, but the scale is tipped all the way towards the right side, with the left side pointing up. He walks on over and hands it to you. Take this, and in doing so, he then pulls out another from his pocket that matches the scale pointing in the other direction. I need to be in contact with you at all times. These are enchanted stones of sending, more powerful than what a mere wizard of the arcane would be able to attempt. We have a limitless ability to communicate through the stone. Make sure that it does not fall into dark hands. Although the power of Kalimvor is needed to activate it, there are others who know ways around it. Stay close and stay away from the bloodline. We will be in contact with you. And he goes over, and I don't know if you take the stone or not, but if not, he's going to then forcibly put it into your hand.
I take it.
Okay. You take.
I do understand where he's coming from. I'm just being very adverse to his harsh treatment of things. But like deep down inside of Cal, he knows that it's the right thing he should be doing.
He turns his back to you after you grabbing it, placing his stone into his pocket. I will put in your inventory, or I'll put in a stone of sending, but it is a stone of Kalimvor sending, a stone of Equipoise.
I like it.
Used to communicate with the member, with the other half of the stone who carries it, and to be used by channeling the power. Though you don't need to use a channel divinity to use so. You would just activate it through the power of Kalimvor innately.
Okay.
But
was this guy's name Master Regan or Egan?
So you heard Ulathar call him Regan.
Regan? Okay.
Yeah. Reigen. Well, Regen.
It's a slick way of saying you haven't asked for his name.
Well, but he does turn around, knowing that he didn't introduce himself. He does turn around. You can call me Master Regan Coldhammer.
And you can call me Cal.
So be it, Cal the Mortal Key. I will retire to my quarters. You are a member, you always have been, of the Heirs of Equipoise. You can return here. More so, you are charged with returning here. When you are summoned, you will be briefed and debriefed, and I will decide what to do with... He stops, continues walking, looks back one more time at you, slides open one of the doorways that the other ones went through, and it shuts down and it closes, and you're just left alone in this empty hall.
I think I'm going to sit there for like another 5 minutes in silence, I guess, if no one comes back. And if everyone still stays away from the hall, I would probably just leave and probably head back to the Light District and head for the mansion.
Okay. No one returns, and you look back, looking at this gray stone hallway with the paintings and statues of what you could probably surmise as past leaders. As you keep going, you do see a statue of the gentleman you were just talking to over at the leftmost. It kind of goes from right to left, it seems. And you see a statue of him, very gallant and strong, stepping on a stone. Leaving that, you close the door behind you. As you do, you hear a locking sound, like a chink, 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 even though no one was there.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of like a vroom, as the doorway seems to be sealed in by magical forces. Back into the Grey District, you follow the streets and begin walk.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
One question that I did have was, when I was looking at those statues, did any of them look like the Dockmaster Merrick Tybolt.
No, none of them look like Merrick Tybolt.
Okay, that's it. That was the only thing I had. So, yep.
All right, you continue your way. This time, it's pretty late. You've been here for a while. You do notice that when you go up to the tram, it is closed, and you can see it because there's like a bar going down there with in common. It says closed until morning, so you can decide you can walk back. It'll take you some time to get back to it through walking, or if you want to do something else, it's up to you.
I'll just walk back.
Okay. So you walk through all the districts one by one, passing the scenery and passing through each of the barriers, feeling it come upon you, making your way to the Light District. Meanwhile, Monaco and Horatio, you guys have left the Arcane Gate and are over in the Light District at your mansion. The door ahead of you, you silently step into it. Coming through the marble walls, you see kind of morphing out is one of the nimble rights. Hello there, welcome home, masters. Hope you had a pleasant day. Is there anything I can get you?
Some privacy, thank you.
Understood. And it merges back into the walls, and you are seemingly alone in your large, empty mansion.
Horatio, I know how much of a sacrifice you just made for me, and she kind of looks like she's at a loss. No one's ever done anything like that for me before. I don't know how to thank you.
Horatio's just kind of blankly staring ahead, like not looking at Monaco. It's just, I agreed to assist you in searching information on what to do, not to be your puppet. And he just kind of walks away.
Horatio, wait. Wait.
And he stops. He doesn't turn around, though.
You know what situation I'm in. What else was I supposed to do?
I don't know. Talk to me about it. Let me know that that's what you needed. Let me know that that was your plan, like, completely. I mean, you just brought me into a person that I can't even trust, who wants me to bring my mother back to possibly be killed. And you forced me to join him. Well, you didn't force me. It was still my choice, but I need time alone. And he walks away.
Horatio. She watches him leave.
All right. Horatio, where are you heading as you storm off, not wanting to talk to your ally who you once trusted?
He would probably go to the library.
Okay, and you did find the library. Walking up the stairs, you take the right way instead of the left hook, which leads you towards the bedroom. And slowly but surely, you eventually make it to the library, opening up the doors and looking through. This is your first time in the library here, since you went to breakfast last time. As you open up the double doors, which are large, these doors reach almost all the way up to the ceiling, but as you go ahead and push it, they're not as heavy as you would think. They make a creaking sound as they open up, and in there, it's a large library, not as large as the Library of Corpus Arcana, of course, but large in its own right. There are several bookshelves, all on one floor, but they are stacked high, just as high as the doorway that you walk by. There's carpet laid down in several. As you step forward, it's dark, but then light appears as candles flicker and turn on automatically, giving it a dim, I would say more than dim light, giving it a bright light here, although you can still tell it's dark in here. Everything is legible though. There is a table of, not table of contents, there's a directory listing out what all books are in there. It's a very long directory, but in alphabetical order you can find anything you're looking for specifically and the direction that it's in.
He doesn't look for a book in particular. He just kind of goes to, he walks into the middle and just randomly, without even looking, just randomly grabs a book and goes and sits at the table and just puts it in front of him but doesn't open it. And I would like to know what book he randomly grabs.
Roll me a D100.
That is a 27.
27. So the book that you grabbed is a book on the ley lines of basically origin of Thelos. It seems to, as you, or you say you were reading it, or you just grabbed it?
I just grabbed it and I have it closed in front of me, but I read the title and I see the ley lines. Then I slowly begin to open it and start reading it.
All right. Spending that time to read, you start to skim through it and speed read, but you, with your keen mind, are clearly able to understand the words that are in front of you. It states how Thelos was built on the magical ley lines. Ley lines are veins, conduits from magic that are focused and congregate into one place. When you're on a ley line, your magic is increased because you have direct access to the power of the plane that you're on. And it seems that it goes on how there are ley lines in key places throughout all of Duskhaven. Some are in Thea. Some have even been rumored to be in the Dark Kingdom. But the one that's here in the center, in Thelos, the arcane capital, the city of Thelos is rested upon. The actual physical start of the ley line, the castle of Thelos, is laid upon. So that's the most powerful area, and it branches off, the veins going into each circle of Thelos. And you also see a map on where the main ley lines are, and you see that it crosses through the forest that you all were in. It also crosses through all the different districts at different points until it kind of dies down towards the gray district, where it's very light and thin.
So this is a map of like the ley lines in this city?
Yes.
Okay.
Like, you don't see any of the maps of the ley lines anywhere else. And you see that the ley lines are like branches that stretch across the entire plane. They go everywhere. Everything is a branch of the ley lines, but the specific routes are here, and as well as other places that is not listed in this book.
Horatio kind of takes out his notebook and just kind of starts copying, or making a few notes, and specifically making a copy of that map. And he writes, "Could ley lines grant power to a person?" And just a couple question marks.
All right. Anything else you're doing, or are you spending your time in here?
He's just kind of spending his time in here, and once he's had that book, then he puts it up and he grabs another one and reads it. But just spends his time kind of reading to calm down and not think about what really occurred. He needs some time away from his own head at the moment.
Okay. Monaco, being left alone inside this large hall, is there anything specific you wish to do? You see Horatio walk up, turn the corner, and disappear around it as he's walking towards his destination.
Monaco has this look on her face, and she just says, "I did it again." And then we'll go to the kitchen, where she snaps her fingers, and in a puff of smoke, Eudrin, her familiar, appears in his cat form. And she just says to him, "I've laid the groundwork for getting everything complete."
So, Reason appears, this black tuxedo cat walking up. He kind of walks between your legs and says, telepathically. You can telepathically connect. Yeah, yes, he's a familiar. So, He telepathically says, "Excellent. The master will be pleased. I shall send word, although he's always watching."
"Yes. Tell him that I made contact with the Archmage in regards to a rare component. There may have been some gaps when I went into a warded room."
"Yes, this about that. So, the master, although it's not appearing here on his own due to other matters he has to deal with, did question on why he was unable to hear you for some time. Care to explain?"
"I believe the Archmage is in possession of one of the Sunstones. I have to make contact with him. Already I've started spinning out ways to get my hands on it."
"Excellent. The master will be pleased. Well, my lady Monaco, it seems that all is falling into place."
Tell him I'm excited to see him again."
"I'm sure he's excited to see you too. And I'm excited to finally go home when this is all done. I mean, as you wish." And he poofs away.
"Don't worry, Yedrin. When this is all done, you'll have nowhere else to go."
Okay.
She says it into the kitchen without him.
All right. Is there anything else you wish to do?
She will just cook a small meal, expecting people to be arriving for dinner.
All right. So as you begin to cook dinner, thinking about the conversation with your familiar, about what happened with Horatio as he stormed off, you start to prepare the meal, hoping that others will arrive to alleviate you of this quiet solitude. And we shift on over, holding each other within the forests of the Dusk District, the Dusk Circle, as the ground is slowly glowing and illuminating. Duran, King, what do you two do?
I say, after spending some time, well, can you tell me, has Sariel left, or is she still there?
She left. She went with the rest of her fae.
Okay, so after she's left, I believe Duran and I just spent some time sort of in each other's arms embracing, and after we sort of let go, I say, which is Elvish for, my love for you has grown, and every day you fill me with strength, and today you've made me whole.
Duran holds King closer. I'm just sorry that I let you suffer for so long on your own.
It is a burden I chose to carry for my people and for you. It's important that the people who are meant to lead and care for others no burden, no strife, and no struggle. Because when they are in charge and have to make hard decisions, they need to know why they must act, or how they must act. And I feel like King would have said it better than that. I don't know how to say that better, but you get what I mean. Decisions are hard. Making decisions are hard, so living a life with through struggle means I'll be able to make those decisions better. And with you by my side, I know for sure we will always lead our people to prosperity.
We, together, you will no longer need to carry these burdens on your own. I reached out to Monaco to get a healing kit because I thought you were relying too much on your power and on yourself. But I feel so much closer to you now, and that I can carry your burdens with you, side by side.
You are right to worry. It still drains me, but now that we are connected, less so. And I'll never stop thanking you for carrying this burden with me. And I'll hold up my spear, and I'll say, with this new spear, once I've become better attuned and understand it, I should be able to channel my powers through it, and it will be less taxing on myself. And when it is when we are in not life-threatening situations, we should resort to mundane forms of healing. There is no need to waste and squander magical energies.
I also think it is good to remember that sometimes people only need a little help to be able to save themselves.
Yes. Come on, let's stretch our legs and walk these woods. Let's pay respect to all these prelepacy.
Oh, haven't we had enough of an adventure tonight? Can't we just lay here until the sun comes up and the birds start to sing and everything is as peaceful here as it is in my heart?
You're right. We did take care of these shrines and relics enough. We deserve this. And I'm going to, just collapse into him and, knock him on the ground and just lay on his chest.
How long was this ritual supposed to take again?
Just a few more hours.
Only a few.
Well, we could stay a little longer. I could give it some extra juice.
He plants a light kiss on King's face. It is only right to pay homage to the old gods and the new.
And the new.
All right. So as you both lie there, holding each other, embracing each other, the spell, the power of Myliki all around you as it envelops the area, even beyond. You can hear the laughter and the chanting, and then soon after, the actual physical presence, well, I'll say ethereal-like presence, of fey creatures as they kind of dance around, laughing and giggling, almost blessing your union. They float above you, and you look up in many different technicolors as dust falls around them and falls on top of you, and you just feel a comfort. And they as you lay together, they fly in the nymphs and sprites and small creatures and fairies kind of fly around you, almost swimming through the air before, in a brief gust of wind, fly into kind of blow you both a kiss, and disappear into the forest as you lie there resting for the rest of the evening. At this point, Cal, you have walked through half of the districts, made it all the way up towards the Dust District where you know King and, well, where you know you left everybody. You don't know where everyone is, just where you had left. Roll me a perception check. Actually, no. Well, yes, but before you do that, what is your passive perception?
My passive perception is 15.
15. Okay. You get the odd feeling that you're being watched. Roll a perception check.
That's a 9.
You look around, you're just like, are you being watched? And you don't say anything. Maybe you chuck it off at just you being paranoid. Nevertheless, you continue walking until finally, passing over the other districts, you end up in the Light District. Find where, and it's at this point it's extremely late. It took you a little bit. It's a large city. Pushing exhaustion, you make your way finally to the manor. It's right in front of you. Anything you wish to do, or are you just going to go in?
Having that feeling like I was being watched or something, I'm actually going to walk around on the Light District a little bit. Maybe circling back a couple times, using my, one of my abilities. I believe it is the City Secrets ability. I'm going to just use that knowledge since I've been walking through this district a couple times now and everything else. I'm going to follow some of the secret patterns of flow, circling back, and I'm going to cast Disguise Self and then go into the mansion.
Okay. All right, so you go ahead and you know, even though you haven't been to Light District much, you know the flow and the way that this city is built, and you take through the alleys and disappear in and out. Casting your spell, you change your form to look. Is there anything particular you wish to look?
I would like to look like a very tan human with dark blue robes, like what I would think are royal-looking robes, and then like I just belong in this mansion, and then go in.
All right. So you change your form from the tiefling shape into the more human shape, with your horns and tails disappearing underneath the cloaking magic, donning on this wizard's robes to blend in. Although it's extremely late at night, and you don't see there's a lot of people onto the maybe like drunkards and late nighters, but you do walk around, go to the manor, open through the gates until you open up the doorway entering in. At this point, Monaco, would you... So, Cal is coming in about a couple hours after you would have been completing your meal. Would you just stay there waiting, or would you eventually go to bed?
There's like a lonely moment where she, for like hour, where she waits for people to eat, and then before noticing nothing's happening, and then leaves a little platter out, and then informs the house,
Mm-hmm.
and then goes to her room.
Okay.
To be alone.
So while you're in your room alone, Cal, you enter in there and smell the scent coming from the kitchen of Monaco's cooking that looms into the air. But you're in this house. You're not sure who else is in here. Possibly Monaco, and maybe others if she cooked.
Yeah, I'm going to take a little food, as I probably I haven't eaten anything all day, and then find the room I stayed in before and go to sleep.
All right. So you went into the kitchen, saw a beautiful meal that's been barely touched, and scoop yourself up a plate and eat a delicious meal made by Monaco before heading up to your room alone, going into your bed to rest, sleep, and ponder about what happened. And with you all in your resting places, well, let me rephrase that. Horatio, so you spent a couple hours, because there was a couple books and you were reading them. You spent a couple hours in here. It is getting very late. You can fall asleep in the library or head back to your room.
Horatio would have smelled Monaco's cooking, and he would have waited until she had, he noticed her go to bed, if she made any noise, and then he would go down and get a plate and bring it back up to the library and eat, and then pass out at the library.
Okay.
Like eat while he's reading, and then like plate right next to him, passes out, reading his head in a book.
Understood. So, with the long night passing by, all of you with your own events that had transpired, and your allies unknown of the events as well, you slumber in your spaces. And at that, we will take a break.
Yay!
Yay.
Yay!
Nice.
Hey there, Dungeon Delvers. Thank you for listening. I would like to take this time to thank all of the wonderful people who helped bring Descent into the Void, a tale of D20s to life. Starting with Frank Freire, who designed our character art, Kyle Misko, who collaborated on the main, mystical, and night theme songs, Manuel Lapuca, who collaborated on our battle and adventuring theme song, Jan Rosa for the use of their original soundtracks, David Chappell for the use of his End of Silence, A World of Color soundtrack, MFY for the use of their Dragon Castle Symphony for Duran's theme song, and Danny.Phantom.01 for creating the Liberator's full art. You can find more about these wonderful artists on our website, ataleofd20s.com. Now click on to part 2 and let's continue our epic tale.